Today, we're taking a big trip, all the way back in time, to really wrap our heads around what it actually took to build human civilization totally from scratch. We're going to follow an allegorical hero. Let's call him Stackman. We're going to strip away literally every single thing we know about the modern world and plunge him right into the dawn of survival. So picture this. Imagine waking up in a world completely wiped clean of our modern safety nets. I mean, no phones, no electricity, absolutely no rescue coming for you. Could you survive? Well, that's exactly what happens to our guy Stackman. One second, he's just going about a completely ordinary day, and the next, boom. A weird flash of light surrounds him. He opens his eyes and, well, the whole world has changed. The air is freezing, these massive, untamed forests stretch for miles, and suddenly, every single meal has to be fiercely earned. Every sunrise is literally a fight just to stay alive. Section 1, Stranded in Prehistoric Earth. Stackman finds himself instantly yanked from his comfy life into this freezing, wildly unpredictable prehistoric forest. And man, the contrast is staggering. Think about it. In our modern life, when we're hungry, we just pop over to the supermarket, right? But in prehistoric reality, whole different ballgame. As his stomach starts to rumble, he spots these colorful berries hanging from a bush. They look amazing, he reaches for them, but then he freezes. What if they're poisonous? For the very first time, he really feels that terrifying weight of having to find food. These early humans didn't have supermarkets. All they had was hard-earned, trial-and-error experience. And hey, if the sketchy berries weren't enough of a wake-up call, there's one golden rule in this era. Everything wants to kill you. Before Stackman can even really process where he is, this massive roar echoes through the valley. A gigantic cave bear just steps right out from behind the rocks. Without even thinking, Stackman grabs a broken branch and literally sprints for his life, his heart just pounding out of his chest. He manages to dive behind this massive boulder, hiding completely still until the bear finally sniffs the air and wanders off. He lets out this huge breath, realizing he came this close to being dinner. The physical danger here, it's immediate and it is absolute. Moving on to Section 2, Teamwork over Brute Strength. As he heads deeper into the forest, Stackman actually stumbles across a small tribe. Now, he's kind of expecting a bunch of chaotic brawlers, but what he actually sees is this highly organized society. When the hunters spot a deer drinking by a river, they pull off this flawless tactical ambush. First, they spread out completely silently. Next, they move left and right, perfectly surrounding their target. Then they wait with just incredible patience for their leader's signal. And finally, they strike together. Every single spear flies at the exact same moment. The deer bolts, but the hunt is over in seconds. Stackman is just blown away. You see, it wasn't about who had the biggest muscles. It was entirely about strategy and coordinated teamwork. And what happens next brilliantly illustrates just how incredibly efficient they had to be. In a world where every single resource is a massive struggle to get, absolutely nothing gets wasted. The meat, that becomes vital food. The animal's skin becomes essential clothing to survive those freezing nights. And the bones are meticulously carved into new tools. Even the tiniest scraps are saved for later. It's honestly a perfect system of survival economics. A bit later on, Stackman tries to prove himself when they stumble across a fallen tree just packed with wild honey. Seeing a sweet treat, his eyes light up and he just recklessly charges right at it. Instantly, hundreds of angry bees swarm the air and he has to sprint away as fast as humanly possible while the whole tribe is just cracking up at him. But instead of panicking or giving up, watch what the hunters do. They calmly gather some dry leaves and create this thick smoke right beneath the hive. The bees safely clear out and the tribe grabs the honey without a single sting. Stackman kind of laughs at himself here, realizing a core truth. Brains always beat rushing. All right, Section 3. Passing down ancient knowledge. So in a world without the internet, no libraries, no Wikipedia, mental databases were literally the ultimate prehistoric technology, specifically what we call generational knowledge.
Stackman's watching the camp, and he sees this young boy accidentally pick up the wrong kind of plant. Immediately, an older woman steps right in, stops the kid, and shows him a different safe plant instead. Stackman realizes he's watching Prehistoric school in session. These people know exactly which plants can heal you and which ones will drop you on the spot. And this massive database of knowledge, it wasn't just learned overnight. It was carefully, painstakingly passed from one generation to the next, acting as their cumulative survival software.
And this shared knowledge extends right into how they communicate, too. When Stackman tags along on another hunt, he notices nobody is speaking out loud. Instead, they use this highly effective system of silent hand signals. One finger pointed forward, that means direction. A closed fist, stop. A quick wave, immediate danger. Using just these signals, the tribe leader spots some enormous claw marks on a tree from a massive predator. Without speaking a single word, the entire group shifts direction to totally avoid the area. So the takeaway here is absolutely crucial. The smartest hunter isn't the guy who fights every battle. It's the one who knows exactly which battles to avoid.
And hey, speaking of ancient technology, let's map out one of the greatest technological leaps in human history. Back at camp, as the temperature really starts dropping, Stackman watches an elder kneel down beside some dry grass. First, the action, striking two stones together. Second, the reaction, tiny little sparks. Third, ignition, a thin line of smoke. And finally, the result, fire. Bright orange flames just light up the darkness. Think about it. Without fire, those freezing nights would be a death sentence. Eating raw meat could spread disease, and all those dangerous predators we talked about would just roam freely right into the camp. This one simple series of actions literally changed human history forever.
Which brings us to Section 4, Community as a Survival Tool.
But here's the thing. Fire and stone tools alone aren't actually enough. Stackman makes this profound sociological realization about the true nature of our ancestors while they're out climbing some rocks. A young hunter slips and severely injures his ankle. Now, based on everything Stackman assumed about this brutal, primitive world, he fully expected them to just leave the kid behind. Survival of the fittest, right? But instead, the exact opposite happens. The tribe immediately rallies around him. Some of the guys build him a makeshift walking stick. Others take on his share of the supplies. An elderly woman carefully applies these crushed medicinal leaves to his swollen ankle, and nobody complains. Watching this, Stackman realizes something huge. Humanity didn't survive because people were ruthless and only cared about themselves. We survived because we genuinely cared for one another. Compassion was arguably our greatest survival tool. And this deep sense of care translates directly into how they handle natural disasters, too. Later on, a sudden, violent rainstorm hits, and the tribe's response is just seamless. When high winds start threatening to tear the camp apart, people instantly grab the wooden poles and hold them down. To stop the shelters from ripping, others quickly tie the annual hides tighter using thick vines. And to protect their crucial fire, even the little kids jump in, grabbing whatever dry wood they can find and bringing it inside. No one waited around for an order. No one assumed it was someone else's problem. They instinctively acted as a single, highly coordinated organism, and because of that, every single shelter survived the night.
Finally, Section 5, the Foundations of Modernity. As Stackman spends a peaceful night by the warm fire, he watches an elder teaching the kids how to navigate across these massive forests using only the stars. No maps, no GPS, no compasses, just a deep, profound understanding of the world around them. And right as he's sitting there admiring their incredible adaptability, boom, that strange flash of light returns. The forest fades out, the campfire vanishes, Stackman opens his eyes, and he's right back in his modern bedroom. He looks at his smartphone, he goes to the kitchen and turns on the faucet for clean water, he looks at his refrigerator, and it hits him. Every single comfort of our modern life exists only because countless generations before us completely refused to give up. They learned from every mistake, they adapted, and most importantly, they protected one another. The strongest humans were actually never the biggest or the fastest. They were the ones who never stopped learning and who always helped each other survive. So what does this all mean for us? Are we still carrying that legacy forward today? Take a moment to really think about that. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.